Hello and welcome to our tutorial on optimistic UI updates with React Query. Let's start by importing the necessary hooks from React Query. We have useQuery, useMutation, and useQueryClient. These are the building blocks of React Query that allow us to fetch, cache, and manipulate server state in our React applications. Here we have an update item function that performs a put request to our server API, updating an item with a given ID. This function converts the new item object to a JSON string and sends it along with the request. It's important to note that this is an asynchronous function that returns a promise, which is why we use then to parse the JSON response. Next, we're defining a custom hook called useOptimisticUpdate using the useQueryClient hook to gain access to the query client, which is responsible for managing the queries and mutations cache. Within our mutation, we have an onMutate function, which is called immediately when a mutation is triggered. First, it cancels any ongoing queries for items to prevent any race conditions. It then stores the current state of the item's query into a variable called previous items. Next, we optimistically update the item's query data in the cache. We map over the old items and check if the id matches the new item. If it does, we create a new item with the spread operator combining the current item and the changes. This updated items data is then returned to the cache, allowing the UI to render the updated data immediately. We also return the previous items, which will be used in case we need to roll back due to an error. If an error occurs during the mutation, the onError callback is called, and we use setQueryData to reset the items in the cache back to previous items stored in the context. This rolls back changes in our UI to the state before the optimistic update, ensuring data consistency. Finally, the onSettled callback is executed regardless of the mutation's success or failure. It invalidates the item's query, signaling React Query to refetch the data from the server, ensuring our cache is eventually consistent with the updated data. In this snippet, we have the items list component that utilizes useQuery to fetch items from the server. It destructures data and is loading from the query object, renaming data to items for clarity. The fetchItems function would be your API call to get the items from the backend. Here, we handle the loading state by returning a loading message while our data is being fetched. Once the items are available, we map over them and render each item in an unordered list. This component will reactively update when the item's query is updated, such as after an optimistic update. In the item updater component, we use our useOptimisticUpdate custom hook to get the mutate function. This enables us to perform the mutation and optimistically update the UI. The handleUpdate function takes updated fields, spreads them over the existing item fields to create a new item, and then calls mutate with this new item. This triggers the update mutation and the associated optimistic UI behavior we defined earlier. Finally, we render form elements or input fields that allow a user to make changes to the item. When a user submits the form, handleUpdate is called, and the UI is immediately updated to reflect the new changes, even before confirmation from the server, thanks to our optimistic UI strategy. That's it for this snippet.